Welcome to Tater Time with Big Al and the Tater. Your host, Mr. Caleb Strickland.
Welcome to week 11 of Tater Time. Got a little new format we're going to try out on you guys this week.
Casual format.
Cash. So,
I didn't get the memo.
well, t-shirts, long sleeve tee.
Making me look bad.
All right, so let's start off the top four. The college football committee comes out with their initial playoff rankings, and you think they got it right, got it wrong?
Well, top four definitely got it right.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's not really much surprise there. I think the surprise comes more down a little bit further. I mean, LSU did get beat by 29 points, and yes, they're a good team, but
At home, too.
they got shut out at home. They got shut out at home, and they're sitting at 7. They dropped 4 spots, which I think they should have dropped further. West Virginia, Washington State probably should be up higher, and even Ohio State should probably be ahead.
So the shutout to you is you're out of the top 10 with the shutout.
So you think West Virginia is better than LSU?
I don't
You
necessarily.
think
I
their
don't necessarily.
resume's
I don't
better?
necessarily think they're better, but I do believe that you lose a game like that at home, get shut out, you should have to pay for that a little bit. Just kind of like Ohio State suffered with the Purdue game. I mean, if you're gonna be, you gotta be consistent.
Yeah, I hear you. So Kyle, what about you? We got any beef?
I hate this. You know, the show itself. You know, it's-
Like the literal show?
and the rankings.
Yeah, the
and all this,
rankings
'cause
show. Yeah.
I literally, any show I turn on, I listen to people sit there and just reel off a billion different scenarios.
Yeah,
What if
yeah,
this happens,
yeah.
then this could happen, then this
So-
could happen. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's going to play out.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the games.
So
Yeah.
you're
Like-
Brian Kelly. We've been down this road before.
Yes,
You
it's
know,
so,
it's-
I just get so tired of it. It's,
I hear you.
So
I hear
played
you.
out.
That's fair.
All right, so Bama is number one. I think we all expected, and I think the world expected Bama to be number one. But this week they go to Mississippi State. You know, that's traditionally. Oh, sorry, they go to Tuscaloosa. Mississippi State's coming to Tuscaloosa. But you know, traditionally this has been kind of a tough game for them. You know, do you think Saban's got his fellas ready for this one, or?
Well, let's start a little bit back to the LSU Bama game. I actually got to go,
Uh-oh.
which
never been lucky.
yeah, lucky, like never been to Baton Rouge before this
Shout out to
trip.
your buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate it, Cole. You know,
So-
hook up.
wasn't for that guy, I would have been sitting at home
Well,
watching.
Like the
everybody
rest of
else.
us losers, right?
Well, not
Yeah.
losers, but everybody else.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
The commoners.
but I mean, it was just kind
Common folk.
of you don't expect it. 7:00 in the morning, get a text and hey, you want to go? I was like, sure.
So hold on. Let's just clear this up. 7 a.m. You get a text that in 12 hours you need to be in Baton Rouge, and you made it.
Yeah, I made it.
A free pair of tickets.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I made it about 3:00 in
Jeez.
the afternoon, and it was.
Was it a there and back?
Oh, it was after the game coming back from. So
What
it
time
was
did you arrive home?
5 in the morning Sunday morning.
Dedication.
Yeah.
So, is the atmosphere as crazy as they make it sound?
Yeah, the atmosphere was pretty wild.
How many jerks did you encounter?
Quite a few.
How many
and,
times did you hear Tiger Bet?
A lot. And honestly, that was more.
How many corn
that
dogs
was-
did you eat?
Well, actually, they were out of corn dogs. I was actually.
They ran out of corn
Yeah,
dogs.
I was actually. Which was surprising. I went to the
They
concession
started
stand.
eating each other.
I don't know, but
A
it
little
was
mustard on
it
their
was
arm.
it was just kind of funny because like heading into the stadium, you heard Tiger Bait. You saw I don't know, just signs saying "Whites out." Tua's gonna get his lights out or something like that. I was
clever.
like, yeah, that was cute, but yeah. So I go to the concession stand. I was like, can I get a corn dog?
In the
Come
ball.
on.
But yeah, I mean, there was quite a few jerks. But I will say this: there were some LSU fans that were pretty classy.
Yeah.
There was a couple that I saw after the game. I apologized to 2 Alabama fans, the older guys, some younger LSU fans throwing peanuts at them.
Yeah.
And they just apologized, said, we're sorry that you had to deal with that. I was kind of shocked. So,
Yeah. I know they kind of get a bad rap.
yeah,
I'm just
really do
kidding,
get a
but
bad rap.
well-
And I mean, besides the cheering when Tua got hurt, besides that, it was kind of minimal.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Okay,
bad.
Since we're on the LSU game, first and foremost, what's the story on Najee? I mean, you know, that was pretty heartbreaking to see him hauled off the line. One quick comment for the commentators. Did you hear what he said when when Najee was limping off? The dude said, "Oh, don't worry, they got 2 more behind him that are just as good." I was like, "That's cold, man.
Yeah,
that is cold."
Was that Nestler or was that Danielson?
I think it was Nestler.
Wow.
So he was really speaking to the
Yeah.
depth, but it was just like,
Yeah,
geez,
wow,
man,
he
this is
just
this
kinda-
kid's career.
Right.
But no, so have y'all heard any word on Najee?
I don't think it's as bad as what I've heard. I've heard it's not as bad. And I guess I forget who else got banged up, but somebody else got banged up, and they said kind of the same deal. Ruggs, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a bruise.
Okay.
So I think he'll be all right. But yeah, Najee's probably a little more to be worried about. But I don't think it's an issue. I mean, walking out after the game, seeing some of the players walk
Yeah.
out. I mean, Christian Miller's walking out with a boot on, but again,
Yeah.
he's good to go. I mean,
Jalen has a boot on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jalen because Jalen wins this game last year. By
Yeah.
the way,
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
forget
well,
that.
I honestly, from what I've heard, and this is like off the field stuff, and people from inside, I've actually got to talk to some different people.
You about to
Inside.
go conspiracy
Oh,
theory?
we're
No.
going to talk about deep throat here?
No.
Yeah, like, you know.
We're about to get a conspiracy theory.
I'm talking about like no, I'm talking Jalen's surgery. I guess maybe it was a little more serious than what we were led
Yeah.
on to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's definitely true.
he might actually not play
So-
much
You know-
the rest of the regular season.
You normally don't hear about surgery for an ankle sprain.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
Well, you know, and that whole bit about it's going to help it heal faster.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and the whole thing about him being used as emergency, he wasn't going to play at all Saturday night.
Yeah, I don't
it
think
it
so.
don't
Well,
matter. It would have
Are,
been.
are
Mac-
you
it would've
saying
been
you
Mac
think he's
Jones.
played his last game at Alabama?
I'm
Ooh.
not sure about that just yet, but I don't think you're going to see him.
Is he taking his talents elsewhere?
Honestly, I could see him not playing the rest of the regular season, but playing like later on if they need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't see him playing much more of the regular season.
All right, so Alabama has secured the West. What's happening with Mississippi State this week?
Yeah.
Well, I think Mississippi State. I guess they're getting a little confidence with a couple wins coming in, but especially like beating A&M, and then they played La Tech. Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll just start
Not
with that.
impressed.
But
Not impressed.
not.
They seem to be playing better.
I mean,
though.
they're playing better, and I mean, this usually typical Mississippi State. They struggle earlier in the year, start getting a little bit better. So this could be a little tough to start with. I think Mississippi State's front, even though I think it's a little more talked about than maybe like as good as Simmons and these guys are, they're 30th stopping the run.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're the best run stopping team. Not saying they can't slow it down and get pressure on Tua. But that all being said, I think Bama is going to roll in this game. And it might take a while to start it off, but I think they get going, getting the ball to their playmakers, Judy,
Yeah.
Ruggs, those guys, Irv Smith. The rest of the regular season, but playing like later on if they need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't see him playing much more of the regular season.
All right, so Alabama has secured the West. What's happening with Mississippi State this week?
Yeah.
Well, I think Mississippi State. I guess they're getting a little confidence with a couple wins coming in, but especially like beating A&M, and then they played La Tech. Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll just start
Not
with that.
impressed.
But
Not impressed.
not.
They seem to be playing better.
I mean,
though.
they're playing better, and I mean, this usually typical Mississippi State. They struggle earlier in the year, start getting a little bit better. So this could be a little tough to start with. I think Mississippi State's front, even though I think it's a little more talked about than maybe like as good as Simmons and these guys are, they're 30th stopping the run.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're the best run stopping team. Not saying they can't slow it down and get pressure on Tua. But that all being said, I think Bama is going to roll in this game. And it might take a while to start it off, but I think they get going, getting the ball to their playmakers, Judy,
Yeah.
Ruggs, those guys, Irv Smith,
Kyle, you
who's
seeing-
big.
You seeing 2 in the 4th?
Man, I just look over. I look over that spread, and I'm like 26.
Oh,
and then
20,
LSU,
Yeah,
and then
but
being in
I
that
do,
game,
I do think you'll see.
I mean,
them in
we're
the fourth.
here's the thing.
Well,
Mississippi
Jalen is
State's
hurt, so-
Mississippi State's defense is technically on paper better than LSU.
Yeah, okay,
I don't know if
okay.
they're more talented out in the back end, but as far as pass defense, they're better on paper than LSU. I think they could give Bama a similar type game to LSU, and their offense might be a little better too with Fitzgerald. Even though I don't think he's all that great, he always seems to make plays. Whether it be some garbage 4-yard, 4th down, run or something like that. But I don't think it's close per se, but I could see it being closer than the LSU game for sure.
All right, so Georgia locks up the East. We already know who's going to Atlanta last week. So Georgia is a 14.5-point favorite over the Tigers. The deepest, or what is it? The oldest rivalry. in the
South's
deepest
oldest
South?
rivalry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deepest
So
Deep South's oldest rivalry. That's it.
yeah.
but
So
mouthful.
Okay.
does Gus cool that seat again like he did
Well,
last year?
He's doing it
or-
again. I mean, it's every year. Here we go. So obviously he's going to win this game, and
Obviously.
no, but, I mean, Georgia is playing with their backs against the wall right now.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're
Yeah, they got to win out.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they're playing like it. I mean, Fromm's been good. That defense is getting better and better every week. Auburn, they're still just very lackluster. Like even last week in the win, they just could not run the ball, and that's just not. We're just not used to seeing that. Their defense is still okay. I think they get a little too much credit as far as their defense goes. To be honest with you, I don't see Georgia having any issues in this game.
No.
Yeah. This is a game. I guess we failed to mention about Georgia's running game, though. I mean, they ran for 300 yards against Kentucky last week.
They had a lot of
Which-
success.
Again, I think they showed everybody that Kentucky's just not ready yet,
No.
and they're a good team and they've had a great season.
They're cute.
But-
Kentucky's cute.
But they're not.
They're a cute
it's
little
it's,
team,
it's
you
time
know?
to get ready for basketball and
Yep.
don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Now,
Worry
I
about
do-
playing Duke.
Okay, so you bring up Kentucky. Kentucky's kind of been my little pet team this year.
Yeah.
I've kind of rode him a little bit. But I do think if Stoops keeps on, I think I don't know that we'll have a Bama contender.
I
out
think
there.
everything is falling into place for Kentucky this year. Look at the seniors on that team.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen every year.
So you're saying this is the
I
one
say,
and done?
I say after this year and all those seniors leave, they're back to their 6-6,
right.
7-5 at best.
I know we're with
Um,
you on Auburn, Georgia, but let's just take a little diversion, and we're not prepped for this one. But Kentucky, Tennessee, what do you think?
I think Kentucky wins. I mean, Tennessee's
Yeah, Tennessee looked pretty
so
abysmal.
down right now.
Tennessee's
Abysmal last
terrible.
week.
Yeah.
14-3 versus Charlotte? Really, guys?
Yeah.
Wow.
They just, I don't know what Butch did when it came to recruiting. I get the feeling he just didn't recruit. They have no players.
Big Butch shows up in Bama smoking cigars.
Well,
Gosh.
honestly,
In your face.
Honestly,
Yeah,
honestly, a little
yeah.
bit on Tennessee though. I mean, maybe they didn't give Chris an actual shot of being the quarterback. I mean, maybe they looked
Yeah,
at
absolutely.
because
Chris
he
should be starting,
he
yeah.
showed and I don't understand why they went back to the other quarterback because he hasn't shown much.
Garantano.
He had the big game against Auburn, but again, he's still in that game. If you watch the Auburn game, there was plays in that game
Isn't
where it's
Chris
what
like a
is he
senior
doing?
though? Is that why you
I
think?
guess,
Just because
but-
he's a senior, they're like, well, he won't be here next
but
year.
I
This is a
guess-
rebuilding year anyway.
I guess,
so.
but the thing is, there
Yeah,
seems to be
that's not logic.
he
needs some W's.
Well, there seems to be some chemistry with him and Jennings and some of the other guys.
No.
So I mean, I'll just let him have a chance.
All right, so
But
Georgia, Auburn. Who's
go
your
back
pick?
to Georgia Auburn. Okay, I feel like again, like Kyle's saying, Auburn kind of does this again. Like we're talking about Mississippi State later in the year, they start getting a little more confidence. And let's not get too excited. Auburn hasn't looked great. They've gotten some more confidence. They've got wins over Ole Miss and Texas A&M.
But we all know they're the luckiest school.
They're pretty lucky, and I mean.
Look,
Yeah,
I don't think
I
they're
mean-
a terrible football team, but come on.
I think Texas
the way they
A&M
won that last year.
Yeah, well, Texas A&M lost
God
that
loves-
game more than Auburn.
God loves Auburn.
Yeah, and like I said, getting to my point though, I feel like Auburn could give Georgia something for a little while, but I think the running game for Georgia is going to be too much. I think Holyfield and Swift are going to be too much for Auburn, and you're going to see more like the SEC title game last year. They'll pull away, and I just don't think Auburn has enough to beat them. Do they cover? I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But
14,
I think Georgia wins this game though.
Yeah.
I do.
I think both of those spreads, both the spreads in the Bama game or the Alabama State games, like you got 26 and Bama's got minus 26. There's no way.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
there's a way, but we don't.
Well, you
again,
got
we
the
say
classic
that.
trap game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hearing that thrown around,
Yeah.
and I don't know if people have been keeping up with Alabama, and not to sound cocky, but Nick Saban has a pretty good track record of not letting them fall into trap games.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah, for
it-
sure.
I mean, I get it. The complacency sets in after a big win, but and yeah, don't be surprised if Mississippi State comes out and they hang with them in the first half
Yeah.
or something. But as far as being like last year, I don't think so. It was a very weird game last year. It was one of those
Yeah.
you looked up in the fourth quarter and you're like, how in the world are they winning this game?
Yeah. All right, trap games. Ohio State, Michigan State. Michigan State, I feel like they're kind of a sleeper. They're, Ohio State's only a 3.5-point favorite here. Michigan State's beat some big teams.
Yeah.
They're a force
They
to
know
be
how to
contended
ugly
with.
up a game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Michigan State beat Purdue, who beat Ohio State. Then again, it's on the road. Purdue played at night. They had a lot of emotion that game. Purdue still, like we were thinking about, this was 2 weeks ago. We were worried about how well Michigan State would respond to that, and Purdue didn't respond well because they're. This is one of those games though. It's early game in the morning, so Ohio State's got to be ready to go. But I think Ohio State will be ready to go, and I think they blow the doors off of Michigan State.
Urban Meyer there next year?
No.
No?
Yeah.
You think
I
Urban
he
Meyer's
is.
there?
I think he is. I
So
think
you don't buy into the conspiracy that this is all so he can go coach the Browns?
I don't see him coach the Browns. I think he's done
Ohio
after this
State
year.
job's doing a
Honestly,
much better job.
I think he's done after this year.
100%.
I don't. But as far as the game goes, yeah, Michigan State's just one of those nasty teams. You
Yeah.
just like
You
obviously
never
we
know.
know their run defense is good. They're always good. But Ohio State had a lot of success with their same running backs that they had, J.K. Dobbins and Weber last year against them.
Yeah.
So they're obviously these teams are familiar with each other. They know how to coach. Both coaches know each other well. Ohio State's not playing well. Last week you mentioned with Nebraska, they had 6 fumbles in that game. When you put the ball
Wow.
on the ground 6 times,
I
that's
didn't
just
know about
not
that.
like that's
I
not
guess-
what we're used to out of urban
I guess
coach
when
teams.
you're driving to
So-
Baton Rouge, you don't know all that stuff. So I
Yeah,
was wondering
but-
why it was.
It was nasty. I mean, they
Yeah.
lost 2, but still they had 3 turnovers altogether.
Wow.
But anyway, Ohio State, I think, is going to squeak one out here.
Okay.
I just don't think that they have. Michigan State has the players, and like you mentioned, Lewerke he's not
the guy.
a good quarterback. He just ain't going to get it done.
All right, so who's in the top 4 after this weekend?
Here we go. See, I don't even know who's in the top 4. To be honest with you, I don't, because I just don't pay attention to that. I think it's just so silly to get caught up in it until literally the week of.
All right,
it just,
all right. The season
I think-
ends
I think it's
after this Saturday.
After the Saturday, if
Who
the
you
season
got?
was to end after the Saturday,
Mm-hmm. Who is it?
I mean, I think it's the same 4 it is right now. I think it's Bama, Clemson, Notre Dame, and Michigan.
Michigan.
So
Yeah,
you don't
those,
think-
those are mine. Those are mine. Those
Because
who.
I mean, Notre Dame, Florida State. Come on, Florida State's not beating Notre
Who
Dame.
is
And if
three?
they
Is it
do
Notre
beat, if they
Dame?
do beat Notre Dame, I will be shocked.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's
but
a
then again, who knows?
I mean, there's a lot of
Maybe-
people saying they're willing to put Michigan ahead of Notre Dame. I mean, it's
Come on,
crazy.
no,
to me.
Michigan ahead of
no,
Notre Dame?
no.
Come on.
And you can't do that.
Come
like,
on.
Notre Dame beat Michigan. You can't
Yeah.
do that. Like,
I mean, those
like
to me are
this
top
is
4.
this is the same thing that happens. Like you've seen it go back to BCS era. Miami beating Florida State, and Florida State still ended up ahead of Miami in the championship game. Should have never happened. If that happens, if Michigan
Yeah.
goes ahead of, come on.
Yeah, what I don't understand is there's 12 games on the schedule.
Right.
They all should matter. It shouldn't be this, at the end of the year, well, this team looks better. I mean, they beat them straight up.
Yeah, and that game
You know?
should matter. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, it's, you're high. I think how you perform at the end of the season is a testament to your grit. And I think grit and stamina has to be a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
I think...
Well, if there was a clear drop off, where if Notre Dame was starting to trend down, where
Yeah.
they're playing close game after close game, and they're just not looking good, injuries and stuff like that, I kind of get that. You start looking across at Michigan, you say, well, that team looks a lot better to me, and has gotten better where the other team has gone down. So I can kind of see that, but that's not the case with this. Notre Dame is still clicking. They didn't have a dominant performance against Northwestern, but they beat them on the road. Northwestern's always a good team. So I don't think to sit here and say Michigan should be ahead of them just based on their, their stout defense.
Well, that being said, let's just be honest here too. I'm tired of Notre Dame not being in a conference. They need to end up in a conference.
How you perform at the end of the season is a testament to your grit, and I think grit and stamina has to be a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, if there was a clear drop off, or if Notre Dame was starting to trend down, where they're playing close game after close game, and they're just not looking good, injuries and stuff like that, I kind of get that. You start looking across at Michigan, you say, well, that team looks a lot better to me, and has gotten better where the other team has gone down. So I can kind of see that, but that's not the case with this. Notre Dame is still clicking. They didn't have a dominant performance against Northwestern, but they beat them on the road. Northwestern's always a good team. So I don't think to sit here and say Michigan should be ahead of them just based on their, their stout defense.
Well, that being said, let's just be honest here too. I'm tired of Notre Dame not being in a conference. They need to end up in a conference. If they're going to be in the ACC and all their other sports, they should go ahead and join the ACC. I don't necessarily think they should be in the ACC anyway. I think they should be in the Big Ten. I think like Maryland and Rutgers, I don't know why they're in the Big Ten. I don't understand that at all. But if you're going to be in the ACC, you need to be in the ACC in all sports.
All right, Irish. You've heard it from the Tater.
Called out.
Thumb, thumb, thumb.
I mean, everybody's thinking it. Come on.
All right, make sure to join us next week for Tater Time.